I don't marry two men or two women.
If she's a man, then how did it give birth to our son?
You gave birth to a little black child.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. When did you have the baby? I don't even know why I'm asking that question.
So, what time is it where you are right now?
It's 6:15 p.m.
That's Sweden, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, very nice. You know, just going through your filmography, it's amazing how eclectic your filmography is, right? It's amazing how the level of roles, you always change it up. Like some actors I feel like are in the same, it's the same character for every movie they do. But with you, it's very eclectic. You change it up a lot. Is that on purpose? Is that by chance? How's that work, Gustaf?
How's that work? Well, I started on stage theater, and then I was really doing all parts, very much rebel parts, and screaming and high intensity. And then, but when I was a kid, I was very shy and very timid, So I kind of have that very much in me. And the thing is that when I got my breakthrough part in Sweden was a movie called Together by a director.
Goran, right? Goran, right?
Goran, yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah, and he was like extremely afraid of conflicts and, very hardly, allowed everything, very smooth and kind of shy. And so then I had this in Sweden a long period of only doing that kind of characters.
Right.
When I felt that I have something else in me, so I actually worked hard in Sweden to try to get away from that. The nicest guy on the planet, and then I went over to psychotic serial killers in a couple of Nordic crime, and did that for a while. And then I kind of, ended up, someone said, maybe he could be a normal guy, because I tend to be being cast as crazy guys. So then I did a couple of, I ended up in the normal guy era, but always have tend to be, not too normal.
Gotcha.
I wonder why.
It's funny because just getting into your early life, right? You went to drama school in New York, right?
Yeah. I've been into two in Sweden and one in New York. Yeah.
So how do you go from this kid in Sweden? And I know your mother, she was a big part in creating your path too, right?
Yeah, she came with the first, I was into graphic design. I should work with advertising. My dad was a graphic designer, and I was all into, and I got this job as like one of the Swedish top advertising agency. And I was way over 20, I think. Finally, my mom came with this, at that time, there was no internet. You cut out from the paper an advertising about an acting school. And out of the blue, she came and said, maybe this could be something for you. And I was, I didn't understand what was going on, but it started like a challenge. My sister and mother say, you will never go to that audition. And then I felt, well, I'm going to go there. I'm going to learn this monologue and I'm going to do it. And I had no intention to go to the school. It was just like a crazy challenge. I remember I was a Chekhov monologue, and I memorized it, and I came there and I went through half of it, and I had a blackout, and I kind of looked out of the window and I was thinking, should I just, I don't want to be an actor. Should I tell them, or what should I do? And I was standing for a long time, and then the rest of the monologue came back, and I went on and I, did it to the end. They probably felt, God, that incredible pause in the middle, so irrational. I don't know. So I got in,
Yeah.
And then when I got in, something in me, talked to me, and so I felt, well, maybe, okay, let's try it. And after just 1 week, I felt, hey, here it is. This is what I want to do.
Do you think your mother saw something in you, knowing her son? Because I feel like this, I've almost never heard the story this way. It's almost, the parents are almost like, hey, get a job that's 9 to 5, that's reasonable, that you could depend on. For your mother to do that, one, did she see something in you? And two, boy, what a wonderful person to basically encourage you to dream and inspire. And boy, that's a great story.
Get a life of boredom and then start working. You know? Yeah, I was, you know, it's very, I see what you mean, and it should be the other way around. You have this fantastic job, everything is great, you're going to make a lot of money, you know. Of course, I was like the funny guy in school, you know, I had friends, but I wasn't really popular among the girls. So, you know, you have to, you know, compensate with being very funny. And so I had been doing that a lot when I was a kid. And there was one famous Swedish author that was doing a TV show, and she wanted to cast me because she had seen me on some school show. It was out of the blue, you know, and I didn't get it because I you know, I was playing table tennis and I didn't know, you know, but she called my mother and said, and then I talked to her. And she said, listen, you will not get this part, but you should do this, you know, because you have something. And I was maybe 10 years old, 11 years old, I don't know.
Wow.
So maybe my mother remembered that. I don't know. That could have something to do with it.
She had to see something that young. Yeah. She had to see something in you. Maybe it was your comedy, maybe it was your spirit, whatever. But and God bless a mother like that, boy. That's very rare, very, very rare. Yes. You know what else is rare is to have a country like Sweden. These actors, I could not believe it, because I've had Peter Stormare on my podcast. Like, he's a really super. Everybody knows who he is. But then it got me going down this hole, Gustaf, of like all these like Swedish actors, not just present day, like over cinematic history. Like, you have the Skarsgårds, you have Peter, Ingrid Bergman, Greta Garbo, Dolph Lundgren, and Margaret, who I didn't know. I mean, and there's like 50 more. Like, what is it with the Swedes' impact on cinema?
I don't know. It starts with Greta Garbo and Ingrid Bergman. I mean, Greta Garbo, she kind of was one of the first real movie stars out of silent movies, in a way. You know, I don't know. You know, when I was doing acting school in New York, we were a couple of Scandinavians there. And there was some teachers, but one teacher said she had this idea that we had another, it was so dark and depressing you know, during the winter. So we had some normal, you know, I wouldn't say depth, but some we you know, and we don't, I guess, America is so good at show business that you're such great entertainers, and we really don't. Our tradition is more serious art. So maybe, you know, if you could get yourself to be a little bit entertaining, but yet you still have another chord in you. I don't know.
Right.
You know, but I mean, Greta Garbo, Ingrid Bergman, it's serious actors, you know.
Yeah, like all-time greats. Yeah, all-time greats. Yeah, that's amazing. You know, and I was wondering, do you think culturally, right, do Swedish moviegoers and American moviegoers expect the same thing when they go to the cinema? Or like you said it earlier, is it a different expectation at the theater? Like you mentioned earlier, you know, people think of Scandinavia as more like, you know, serious and not comedic. But do you feel like there's a difference, or do you feel like a good story is a good story regardless of where it's told?
I think good movies and good stories can be like this movie Together. We didn't even know if it would work in Sweden, but then it came out all around the world, and you know, and it was because we had this scene in the end when we play football during the winter, and there was people in Brazil. It's like, I can, you know, but when I went to film festivals and stuff, people were reacting, you know, at the same moments, at the same lines. And it's often like that. If you have a good movie, you know, the audience react to it quite, you know, at the same way. But yeah, I mean, the problem in Sweden is that a lot of people, the Swedish movie often have this problem to compete with the blockbusters, you know, the American blockbusters. So if we have a Swedish movie, you don't put it, you know, before like Indiana Jones, next to Indiana Jones or Harry Potter or whatever.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah, you're dead, or Marvel, No. You have to wait to the spring,
Right.
wait a couple of months.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. One of your characters that I've been really intrigued with, and I just kind of started the show, was Dr. Death. You talk about Anders, right? I'm scared of doctors to begin with. I don't trust. I don't know. I shouldn't say trust. I just have a problem. I just have a phobia. I don't like hospitals. I had an incident a couple years ago that I wasn't. But like seeing this show didn't help that.
No.
But it's like, but it's a really underrated show. I was surprised. I'm not surprised, but I was like, I'm so mad at myself for not starting it sooner. It's a really phenomenal show, Gustaf. It's great.
Yeah. That's how I work. I do these great things that no one appreciates until it's too late. No, I think it's the story and everything. It's wild. It's and great. Yeah, I love the show, and I thought also that it would be like a bigger thing, even in America. I think
it is a big
cleansed my schedule for a whole year, but really nothing happened.
But no, I think it was. I shouldn't have said it the way that it was a big thing. But I think if people are looking for a good show, I would highly recommend it. I think it's really worth a watch.
Yeah.
Just talk about your character, who he is, and was he fun? Did you enjoy getting inside his skin and playing him, because he is based on somebody that actually exists, which I always feel like is an added challenge, right? So whatever you wanted to say about your character, Gustaf.
Yeah, first, at this hospital, I had a sinus problem. Call it sinus. Well, I had to do an operation because I had my nostril was blocked, so they had to open it.
Okay.
And this was at this department that Paolo Macchiarini was actually, but I don't know if it was really there at the moment. But so I've been very close. I've been taking my kids to that hospital.
Wow.
So my relation to that hospital, who is like this prestigious hospital in the world, Swedish, when they hand out the Nobel Prize in medicine, So the story that they could have been into this crazy thing, I could relate to it highly. And I actually, my neighbor is actually, then he was a member of the Nobel Prize jury. So I asked him once, do you know anything about Paolo Macchiarini? And he was like, oh my God, And then he actually handed me, the contact to kind of the guy I was playing, the guy who was making the the laboratory tests. So I got to speak to him, and I got a lot of information, and so I was really very inside, and felt for this story from like the roots of me. And then it was fantastic to come to New York, and they was this with the showrunner Ashley Michael Hoven and everybody, and I had been to acting school in New York, so I'd been back a couple of times, but I kind of, it was a long time since I was in New York, so coming back to work in New York for 6 months was like fantastic.
Yeah.
So.
Gustaf, was the doctor's name Oscar Simons or Simmons?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Is it your role in Together that grabs the attention of Sacha Baron Cohen? I had heard that. I don't know how true that is.
Yes, it is. That's the truth. I had a Swedish agent. She got a mail from someone saying, I apologize, I can't speak Swedish, so this mail will be in English, but we're wondering about Gustaf, and can he speak German? And I thought, okay, they want to have they're doing another Nazi movie. I'm gonna come in, get run over by a tank, and they would assassinate me, and I will have one line in Hollywood. And then because I actually can speak a little German, so she said yes, he can. And then next mail, okay, great, because the guy who did Borat, that was just a huge success all over the world. He's actually making another movie, and we're looking for his sidekick. do you think would that be something that he would be interested in? And I was doing this extremely serious Strindberg play, you know, heavy theater, and I felt, you know, I was very uninspired, even though there was a fantastic, you know, high-end art. And then I had to go to England, to London, day before Christmas to make this audition, and my passport had expired, and the plane was late because of fog in London. There's always fog in London, so I was literally for half a day trying to get to this audition. When I came, the studio was closed. We had to go to a hotel room, and I was improvising. I was so high, but just getting there in time and improvising with Dan Laser, who is a guy who's really, he started with Sacha Baron Cohen, creating Ali G, and he's like a writer, producer.
Right.
So I was in the hotel room with him, and I was all over the place. I remember I went to the bathroom and closed the door. I was alone. I was in there for like 10 minutes and pretending to be screaming, and they were actually filming the toilet door. You know, such a bad decision for a casting. Since I was so up in the air, you know, they kind of liked me. But then I realized that they had seen me in this movie together, where my character is totally the opposite. So I felt, God, this is all wrong. They were looking for some smooth, you know, some low-key guy, and I was like this. So I actually did an extra tape that I sent as a New Year. My character Lutz sent to Brüno like a New Year greeting that he had been with me, and I had "You Forgot Your Sock," and I want to, you know, stuff. And they actually, you know, after they said that was kind of, you know, that wasn't unimportant, because they loved that little thing.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of silence, as always. And then all of a sudden they say, no, we love this guy. We want him to come for an audition to LA. So then they flew me business class to LA, and I stayed at this hotel in West Hollywood, and I had no idea. There was no texts, no lines, no scenes, just, you know, we'll take care of it. And the problem was then I was in the Strindberg show, and I have to, you know, the biggest theater in Sweden, you know, almost. And there was this gap of like 36 hours that I could do it. So I was, I can come Saturday and we do the audition, noon, Sunday, something. And then I have to fly back, you know, a couple of hours later because the time difference is like 9 hours from LA. So there was this schedule that I had to follow. And so I was then very nervous not to, you know, to miss the flight back, and had to pay for a sold out show and, you know, get fired, never work again in Sweden. So, and it started at the hotel room. I was sitting having breakfast, nervous, and someone came up to me. "Are you Mr. Hammarsten? Yeah, there's a phone call for you." And I was, and then it started, you know, they're very delayed there. So we will not be able to pick you up. We will come, we're 1 hour delayed. And this guy picked me up. And the first thing he said, "Is there something in LA you wanted to see, some tourist attractions or whatever?" And I said, "What? No, because they're really delayed. So maybe we just drive around." So I was sitting, you know, and we came to the Lot, this famous studio in LA, and I was sitting, waiting. So when I finally got in, you know, I was like, I didn't have my own watch, but I was looking at people's, and this room with like 6-7 people, producers, and Larry Charles, the director, and Jonah Hill was like a writer and a I didn't know him, but he was sitting there with a hat, and, you know, there was all these people, like a wall of important people. But all I had in mind was like, I can't miss the flight, which was good, because and then we started to improvise. I know what's happening, and we did some improvisations. And I felt that Sasha was like, yeah, you know, maybe we should try another one. And so we would improvise, doing, as I then understood, kind of improvisations of scenes in the movie, trying stuff. And they were getting more and more, yeah, let's do it. Do we do another one? Until I had to say, because I saw some, maybe it was Larry Shaw's plastic purple hippie clock watch. I said, what time is it? Because I think I have to go now. I have to go to the airport. And they had flown me from Sweden. So I remember Sasha said, what's going on? We flew this guy over here. Now he has to go, But then they, no, they understood. So,
that's a lot of time on a plane, Gustaf. That's a lot of time for us.
for one audition.
Yes.
And then I got the part and I didn't get it. And then I got it. And then, oh, can I come in 1 week? No, you have to be here tomorrow. Well, then, no, you can be the day after tomorrow at the latest.
Yeah.
So I have to,
So you got it, and then they told you didn't have it? They took it away, or they...
Yeah, there was a lot of, there was actually, there's a lot of secret stuff about this movie, but there was a very famous British actor who was also kind of almost promised to do this part, I think. But there was some, I don't know.
Do you know who it is, or are you allowed to say who it is?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
Okay, so don't.
But he's a fantastic actor.
Yeah,
very bold.
Yeah. Okay. It's funny because this role, we talked about your roles, your choices of early on in the interview, but it's almost like this role. There's nothing like it, right? Because you have to learn German.
Yeah.
Lutz is like nobody I've ever seen. Like he's just so great. Like he's just a good guy. Like he's a good human being. And I guess that's some of what you did. But I have to believe that Sasha or whomever seeing together kind of got the feeling if that's what they wanted. That's like you were saying, that's the character they wanted. Yeah. But it's not that simple though, because I feel like you made this character your own. Because when you're done with this movie, you can't help but love who Lutz is. Like you have to love who he is. Yeah. So I don't know. That's the thing I see. But it's ironic that you said Jonah Hill, because he did a movie a couple years ago called You People, and I feel like that movie tried so hard not to offend anybody. And I feel like when that happens, nothing ever works. It's not very funny. But like Brüno for me is one of my favorite comedies ever, and it's definitely one of the best.
They do it. We did it the other way around.
That's right.
As much people,
yes, but
that's
I think
the whole idea.
But Gustaf, that's the thing. I think you're making my point. Like I think you have to be willing to do that, not just to offend people, but offend people with a message and a point. Like I think that's okay. I think you, as a comedy, same with a stand-up comedian, like you have to offend other people, like, but not in a mean way. There's that line, right? But I don't know. I love the way that Brüno does that, and I haven't seen a movie quite like it since 2009. I feel like comedies have kind of gone this way because we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and when you do that, you create something that nobody wants to see. Something, when it comes to a comedy, people want to see something that's like nothing else, and that's what Brüno was. That's what Borat was, you know. And I don't know. I just feel like when you don't want to offend anybody, you end up with like a movie like You People, where it's like, oh boy, like this is hard, you know. I don't know. What do you think about that, Gustaf?
I agree. You know, but then Brüno, when it came to Sweden, and we had this premiere, and I was sitting next to my mother. You know, it's kind of a lot of things below the belt.
Yes.
So,
did you say you went to go see it with your mother? Is that what you said?
No, I was sitting. She was sitting at the premiere in Sweden.
Okay.
You know, I had my whole family. I was sitting next to my mother, and you know, there was a lot of explicit. The theme is, you know, below the belt a lot. So,
Gustaf, do you think your mother regretted giving you that clipping at 11?
She regretted, you know, why did I come with that acting school ad?
She must be so proud of you, or but she must be so proud of you being at a premiere like that in a movie that was making everybody laugh. It still makes people laugh to this day. Like it's one of my go-tos if I need to pick me up and want to, like, it's so watchable. Like you could watch it 100 times and still love it. What was it like?
That's fantastic to hear. But you know, a lot of people came to me, it still come to me and say, "Oh, Brüno, I heard it so much about it. I haven't seen it, but my kids have." And they could talk about kids that are like 12 years old. Then I get a little, what? No, wait, stop.
Yeah. It's what's it like working with Sasha? Is he because I want to talk about some of the scenes, but like before I do that, I want to hear your take of him. Is he? I know he's super talented. I get that, but what's he like to work with? What's he like as a man, as a human being? What's he like, Gustaf?
Yeah, but he's you know, he's from England. He's very intelligent. He's like he could have been. I actually think that he was into being a lawyer before he so he's like the opposite of Borat in one way.
Yes.
But then he is also a bit, he has this, he's very frank and very direct. And the thing that we were also working, and I played this assistant, and we had this complicated relationship. And he also was very into being, when he did Borat, I heard that he was in character the whole time. No one could ever speak to him as anyone else but Borat. And he had the same suit on for like months. So he actually, when he was doing this interview, he was smelling like, all that. So he was very into that he should be in character, and that I should also be in character. So that was the first, that was a little, but then he was in and out of character because he was, he was doing the script. He was, he was doing all this. He was extremely involved. It's kind of his movie, together with all the other creators.
Yeah.
So he was in and out, and then I felt I can't, it doesn't really work for me to go walk around 24 hours and being, kicked around. So after a while, it's better to concentrate in the scenes. But so we had this special this bond that, and I think that he felt that when we do the scenes, we can go wild, and I felt that with him too, that he was wanting to sacrifice himself for the art of comedy. And he's very, very working extremely hard, and he could go on for hours. Let's do it again. These interview scenes, they could last for hours, and then we have a short break, and we try it again with some other victim or some other person, because everything is real people. The only one who is in on it is Harrison Ford, and he's in the movie for like one line when he says "fuck off." And everybody thinks, there was a lot of people who thought that he was the only, real guy. At everything else was staged, but it's all real people.
Oh yeah, I never get the impression it's staged.
No.
Oh, for you as an actor, what's the most difficult part of becoming Lutz? What's the most difficult part for you?
No, but I felt very free. If I would have done this in Sweden, maybe it wouldn't be as easy as it was. But for me, I was in another country, another culture, and I could, I could say or do whatever what the scene needed, and people, there were scenes cut out that's not in the movie, when people treated me like dogs. So and that was just. And I mean, the last scene we did in this fighting.
Oh my God! I'm going to ask you about that. Oh my God!
On all the people hating us, and then you had this. I felt this power that you think I'm the idiot, but wait until this will be rolling all over the cinemas, all over the world.
Yeah. So that's we'll start with that. I was going to end with that, but since we touched on it,
Okay.
You're talking about the fight in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Where Brüno and Lutz they go at it. First of all, you kind of already talked about this, but one of the things about your character, right, is like you have to learn German.
Yeah.
You have to, but you also required, and I feel like this is not common for actors. You are required to. You mentioned that Sasha encourages to go all in, and he sacrifices himself. Well, Gustaf, so do you in this movie. You sacrifice yourself a lot, and especially. This scene in Arkansas where you have people throwing bottles in the ring, you have people throwing anything they want in the ring, things that can hurt you, sharp things, heavy things. Just talk about what that was like. And I'm glad I rewatched it again because I watched it a lot, but I totally forgot the blood thing. That was not planned for, right? Remember when you get cut and then you spit out? Was that planned or no? That wasn't planned, right?
No, let me tell you, that's actually. I had what do you call it?
A capsule? A capsule?
Yeah.
Oh my God! I thought
the thing is, I was sitting in the audience. The most scary thing was that I was sitting in the audience for hours because this was on the whole entire show, and Sasha was doing his comedy like a couple of times, and this was the third time, and I had this kind of line, this special, cue when I was supposed to stand up in the audience and yell, "You're the fucking faggot," you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was sitting at this show for, you know, the show went on for hours. It was a proper show, and all the people, we sold beer for $1, you know, because we wanted people to get in the mood. And so that was kind of scary, because I was sitting there in my you know, my Lutz costume and my glasses and looking like this. And so the people next to me, there was, who the fuck is this guy? He looked like an Austrian serial killer, you know. So then I had to I have to start act already there, you know, because the people were this scary guy. And then actually, I don't know if I'm saying things I shouldn't, but we tried to practice a kind of a pattern on the stage. You know, we know that there's going to be some fighting there, and so we started like doing some movements that we had. But there was also very less time. As in this shooting, there was so much going on, and so much, like, you know, you had to pick things, hit the ball when it came, you know. So we didn't really have a lot of time to practice that, the stage fighting moves. And then one of the stunt guys, first I had, I had a pink thong under, you know, pink underwear, like G-string, because when I take them off, that would be fantastic. Then when I sit there, I see someone. It was like a heist, you know, like FBI spy. She was nodding to me, and I came down, and she said that they just found out it's illegal to show your buttocks in this state. So you have to change underwear. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? You have to change underwear. Where? Go into the bathroom. And the bathroom was literally like was like a horse arena. And there was like just a room with like a where you pee in the floor. And,
no stalls, right?
Yeah, a little stall
That
was like, so there was like this, you know, it was to the knees, and if I stood up, you could see my head, you know, was one. And I went in there, and I you know, I was waiting because if I would be there and take my pink underwear under it, everybody would see it, and they would probably kill me. You know, that was the mood of it. So I remember I stand on the toilet to see if I could do it, you know, without. And it was like a Mr. Bean sketch in there. But then I finally got it. That was also heart beating, you know. If they found to see me with the pink underwear, they were going to kill me. Then I managed to change that underwear. And then I came and back, and I handed her the pink. You know, she waited, and, you know, like a package, you know, spy package. I gave her the pink underwear. She took it, and she went along. But then, you know, sometime before I was about my cue, the stunt guy came to me and sat next to me, like pretending nothing. You know, the spy theme continued. And then he was whispering to me, Sasha says that, you know, forget about the stage practicing. Fight for real. I was like, what? Fight for real. Just do it. When I was so, you know, I'd been working with these guys for months. I was not surprised. So, and then he had this blood thing. So I said, it would be good if you could, you know, if you could. So I actually managed to put that thing in. So I'm not bleeding all that. But the thing is, you know, this fight for real, who wasn't really what we agreed on before. But, you know, so I felt when I got in there, and you can see that in the movie, that I get in and I think, I'm not going to wait for him to attack me. I'm going to get him, you know. So I actually just take off the glasses, and then I attack him when he's still on the mic. So he was a little surprised that, you know, I don't know, maybe he had some lines he wanted to do. But then it actually went on to kind of a real fight. But he was, you know, I knew that he was all into that. So, you know, we didn't pinch our eyes out, but
right.
And he actually whispered at one time, hit me. So I kind of smacked him. I don't know. I remember if it was the fist or the like
The slap, yeah.
slap, yeah, a bitch slap. But but so that was all. And then it came to this moment before we should kiss. And then I felt, that I had still had some blood from the it left. So then I felt that if I could do the spit now before the kiss, that would be
great.
something
That
else.
was
So
great.
it's like I spit and then we kiss.
I really
and
thought
Titanic goes on.
I really thought that since 2009, I thought you were really. I thought that he really hit you, and you were. But that's okay.
Yeah, but we had bruises as hell, both of us, because we were, and there was actually if you see the movie, the editor asked if I was head injured, because when he saw the material, you see that I bent down and there is a metallic chair thrown in.
Oh, that's right. They threw in chairs too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's like that thrown like 40 meters in, so that would have been something.
I forgot about that. What was the mood like when you guys go from fighting to kissing? What was that? What was the mood like in the arena when that happened? Because when you're watching the movie, it's like Sasha or Gustaf is going to get killed, or maybe both of them. Like, what was the mood like in that?
No, yeah, but for me, that's one of the greatest scenes I have ever been in or will be in, I think, because we're in this environment, this that is, prejudice is just the little there's so much hate and to everything that's not their world, in a way, you know what I mean?
Right,
so,
right.
And we start to do this, and they hate us, and but they can't get us, because we have security, so they can't jam into the cage. Otherwise I wouldn't sit here with my head on, so there was some security measurements or so I felt that I can stand here as long as I don't get a chair in my head. No, but they were throwing mostly tackles, and because they also had salt beer in plastic mugs, so they had kind of been thinking of stuff like that. And so that there was this power of, I'm actually doing a love scene. I'm actually doing a scene in the name of true love, and you are helping us to send that message all over the world. Yeah, so it's, and I felt, and I was the character, but of course in that moment that is so real, I'm also myself. I was there for my life, in a way. I was putting all of myself into the character and to the scene and to the movie, into the message. So one of the, you can't beat that as an actor.
Well, that's
to
really
stand there, and it's happening live.
Yeah,
and
that's just really sweet the way you said that. Yeah, I haven't thought about it that way. That's really sweet. And it's weird because there's never going to be a scene like it. Like, where does an actor do something like that? It's almost like a theater, but in a theater, the audience doesn't want to kill you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's where do I ever get a mix like this is one of the reasons why Brüno is one of my all-time favorites. Like, it's just moments like that where it is scripted, but it's not like, it's totally and I get you guys got security.
They try to script it. There is script suggestions, and there's a script.
Correct.
But then real life happens, and that was the difficult thing to and then you have to rearrange the story, because you found some gold situations.
Right, and no script or anything can prepare you for, or security can prepare you for chairs flying at you, bottles of beer flying at you. Like, I don't know how you do that.
The whole movie was, the security department. They had this impossible task, because don't interfere. We want attention. We want literally, don't interfere if someone wants to punch us. But don't let them punch us. It's how do you, when the tension is getting high and we're trying to piss off people, you know, that's when the scene starts in a way, you know, when people get confused and angry or whatever. So that's where you cannot, then that's where you start. That's when he, you know, gets off Sasha. Then when he's being really creative when someone wants to kill him, you know. And so security has one mission. They cannot be hurt. But listen, what's happening now? I mean, we were doing scenes all over, and there's so many scenes that didn't make it to the movie because there was hours of hours.
Yeah, it's almost like let them punch us, but don't let them punch us twice. It's
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
like
yeah, but it almost punches, you know.
Yeah. So was that the toughest scene to shoot as far as, I don't want to say your safety, because I get it. You guys said security, but from an acting point of view, and I'm going to go over a couple more scenes, but like with that scene, did you find that was the scariest for you?
Well, yes, I think so. Yes, because that was actually there was one scene in Jerusalem, and I wasn't in that scene when Sasha was dressed as a Orthodox.
Oh yeah,
you know, but in shorts and stuff. And the security guy said that, you know, listen, this could take the wrong turn, you know, because you're offending the Orthodox Jews here, you know, in their own territory. And Sasha is a Jew himself, so it's also, he's so brave. He said, I want to go there too. Of course, we have to go to like my heritage, and you know, and seek out the prejudices there, you know. So that was really, I don't remember. Yeah, but it's in the movie. But it was really, that was scary. And for the first time, I felt, I'm glad I wasn't in that scene.
Yeah,
I was supposed to be in that scene, but I think they kind of also felt that it's going to be too, you know, defending two guys. You know, let's focus on one guy.
Yeah, it's almost like too. You know, I wanted to say one more thing about Arkansas. Like, if anybody ever doubts, any casting director doubts what lengths you go to create art, just show them the 5 minutes from Arkansas. Just show them that 5 minutes from Arkansas and say, this is what I do as an actor. This is what I'm willing to do. But it's funny because, like you mentioned earlier, what, you know, you guys think you have the last laugh in Arkansas. It's almost like the same thing with other people in the movie. It's like you wonder after people have seen it, what Sasha was trying to do, the messages he was trying to send, right? Because that's where Brüno really gets you, and that's what I love about it. It's the message. It's saying the homophobia, the anti-Semitism, the bigotry, even to some degree, some of the celebrities that are clueless as to what's going on in the world. I mean, for Paula Abdul to kind of go through with that and sit on people's backs and assume that this is like something to do is insane to me. But I don't know. This is part of the genius of Sasha and you and Brüno. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, as I see it as a political movie. You know,
100%.
Yeah,
100%. You know,
and I mean, the end that we also tried to get married. We actually, you know, in LA, the house, how would you call it? You know, but it was illegal back then for two.
That's right. In 2009, that's not like it was. Yeah, that's a great point, Gustaf. That's a great point.
Yeah. So there was really, we went in there, and I was dressed, you know, as a bride, very bad. You could see that I had
just like on the screen right here, right? Just like on the
screen.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And we went to, I think it was four people who should, and I think two just did. They went all through. They did it, which is so. I mean, that's a political statement to do it. You know, so.
But I think
with
that's
our little son, OJ. Yeah,
and I think that's why the movie.
Rainbow Family. What?
That's right. That's why the movie is gaining in popularity. I think people are starting to see its genius. I think this is why it's hitting with those that are a little bit younger, because now, especially as somebody who remembers 2009, 2010 in the States, you know, marrying another man was not okay with a lot of people in a lot of states. It was not okay. I mean, in 2024, we look at that, it's not even an afterthought. We're like, okay, whatever, no big deal. But like back then, it was like a big thing. But this is why Brüno has evolved as to one of the. It was for me in 2009, but even in 2024, it's aged like wine. It's so good. It's just so good.
Yeah, I have to see it again. And I haven't seen the special. There's some special edition on a DVD. I think I've never seen it, but I should.
Gustaf, I have a few more questions, and thank you for all this time. You're such a kind man, talented man. What was the airport scene like when Brüno says Madonna has one, Brangelina has one? Now, how awkward was that? Was that? I mean, you weren't like in danger, but like it just from a pure awkwardness, like that had to be awkward.
Yeah, but there was nothing that was not awkward in this.
That's true. That's true.
Every day we worked 6 days a week, and every time, awkward was the least, you got.
That's right.
Yeah, but I mean, and they planted this box with this was actually twins, the guys, the children that played OJ, the little.
They're adorable. Those kids were adorable.
Yeah, and they were such professionals. In some way, they were very small, but I don't know, they were so cool. And I mean, the talk show when he said that he swapped the kid for an iPod in Africa. It's like, yeah.
And then when he starts showing the pictures, Gustaf, and then there's the hot tub one that pops up. Like, I lost it. Yeah, it's. Was there a most awkward scene for you? Because the one that I think makes me laugh the hardest is the hotel scene. Like, there's so much going on here. You have a toilet wand, and the manager's in the room. The employees are uncomfortable, and he's just. Bruno's pissed because he bought Mr. Margorium's Wonder Emporium.
Yeah, he didn't want to order it.
That's what he's worried about most. Like all this, there's tornadoes happening around him, but he's pissed off because he accidentally bought the movie. But just talk about that scene, Gustaf, and whatever you wanted to say.
I'm not sure what I can say about that scene, because that was kind of a little bit in the beginning, I think. But the thing is that we did that scene. We prepared the room, and first there was some room service guy who came in and was almost extremely shocked. He just went out without saying anything, and then there's some hotel manager came in. I don't remember, coming in almost mute of shame or horror, and then he went out, and all of a sudden there was some hotel security personnel. And then he went out, and then there was actually a moment where we were, because the thing is with this movie that we could never break the law for real.
Right.
It was, it's in this kind of movie, it's really all the lawyers, they're checking everything, So then they came to a point when there was some law that was uncertain if we could have broke some law, which made us being forced to run away from this hotel room, actually. And
wow.
So I was, and the thing is, we had we had this change attached to us, in foot, hands, and like a metal collar. I don't know, remember if you could see that, but we had it. And then, of course, Sasha was the star, and I was like the unknown European guy. So the release, the release schedule, tactics was that he could release his stuff, but I was still attached with keys. So I ended up carrying all this change in my boxer shorts. And running, and in Sweden we don't have these high houses. This was like in a big hotel in Kansas, I think. And we started to try with the elevator, but then there was this. We were kind of, chased by the security, and the doors open, and then we ended up for some reason, and then we took the stairs. And I remember I was running. I was hardly. I was thinking, don't leave me alone here, because I don't, And I was looking at the numbers, like 31, 30, and I was like, what's that? Oh, that's stairs, because I'm in this skyscraper, this high building. And then all of a sudden we ended up out on the fire stairs, because we need to get out of the hotel and not from the main entrance, because there might be the rumor was that sheriffs, police are coming, and we don't want to meet the police at this point, because everything was uncertain. Yeah, it ended up with, I don't know if I could. He must have said this himself. We ended up jumping from the fire stairs down to like a what you call it, container of garbage, and there came this van and picking us up. And he had high heels on, and he injured his foot. So I think he actually broke his foot And the thing is that I had this, I had this metal collar with like 1 meter chain and his metal collar, and I was jumping from the last balcony, and I didn't think of it. But Larry Charles, the director, he came to me afterward. Was like, "Oh my God, if I would have the metal collar would have been stuck up there on the balcony."
Oh my God, I didn't even think
That
about
would
that.
have been a very bad moment for Swedish acting.
Oh yes, and for fans of Gustaf, yes,
Yeah. So, but
absolutely.
after, then everything. Then we heard that what and we literally jumped into the floor of the van and taking off. I felt, I grew up with Barretta, the Barretta and Kojak.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
thought, like I'm doing an episode of Kojak here. What's going on?
See, I love those shows growing up. Those were those
Yeah,
are
yeah.
shows. But I have my last two questions are. It's funny because we talked about the gay bashers, the bigots. We talked about all these terrible people in this movie, terrorists, right? Who
Yeah.
knew the biggest villains in Brüno were stage moms? Like the scene where like that's insane.
Yeah.
Like that scene of all the scenes of all the drop your jaw moments in this movie.
Yeah.
That one is the most insane. Like, and that's the one that obviously not scripted, but like it's like, oh my God, like there's really people that will do anything to ensure their child's popularity and whatever you wanted to say to that stuff, because that's one of the craziest scenes to me.
When you're talking about the parents with the kids, or
the parents that are like talking to the casting, like they're willing to do anything to get their child to this new popularity.
That was that we made all this crazy stuff, and encounters kind of with police and dealing with this shady characters in Midwest and the South, hostile environment, and I never felt bad or were really scared. But after this shooting, this scenes, that when I came home, I was really wondering, first of all, what is the world coming to? And I had, because we literally met parents, and they, everything isn't even in the movie, because we met so many parents, and there was one parent, one woman. She said, after a couple of questions, she said, "I'm sorry, I can't do this. I can't. I have to leave, because she felt that this is unworthy." But all the others just,
Right. That's insane. It should have been flipped. It should have been backwards. But it wasn't.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's truly, truly terrifying. Do you feel like this movie opened up more? Because I don't want to say as an actor, because I feel like at this point, you're already a working actor who has a ton of roles, right? But just as far as the United States goes, do you feel like Brüno maybe opened up its way a little bit for you as an actor for more opportunity?
A little, but not. No, I thought it would be more. But the thing is, I think the movie was, as you said, I think it was more of a artistic, in a way. It's a comedy. It's a big Hollywood movie, but it didn't. I mean, it's not an Indiana Jones. It's not a blockbuster.
Right.
It's too political. It's too edgy. It's too crazy. So it could have been. And Borat was more. In some ways, I think Borat was more accessible in a way, because it was. I don't know. No, because of course it opened up a little bit of opportunity for me. But I to be honest, I thought it could have been more.
Yeah.
But it was, and also, I met people that don't even think I was an actor, because that they some people think, I thought you were the actor. I thought it was a real guy they found in Austria.
But that's a compliment. That's a compliment.
Yeah, I know it's a compliment.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But I feel like, and I don't want to leave this with just, I chose to focus on Brüno because how much I love it. But your career, for those listening and watching, you were terrific in Old, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Your filmography is very lengthy. And then, Old is a movie that's very scary and very fun to do as well. But is he a fun guy to work for? M. Night.
Yeah, M. Night. Yeah,
Yeah,
fantastic. So extremely generous and very precautious, very thorough. What do you say? And he loves the actors. A lot of takes, and also yet very open-minded and generous. So that was incredible to work with him. At the Dominican Republic for like a month during COVID, at this this great environment. But he really loves what he's doing, and he's very he's very precise, and very, very. I loved working with him, and so a very nice person and generous, but very. He had high standards, and very sharp, and he has an sharp idea on how he wants to do it, but he wants to explore it as well,
Yeah, I love that he chases his vision, even if it might not be the most popular thing. Like, I just love that. Like, he creates his own art. Do you ever wonder, Gustaf? Do you ever wonder, like, when you get a part like Old or Girl with the Dragon Tattoo or Dr. Death, whatever? Do you ever wonder, like, well, what in my filmography did you watch where you wanted me for that part? I know sometimes parts come to an agent and they forward it to you or whatever, but sometimes you have to audition. But do you ever wonder what in your filmography, like earlier we talked about Sasha, and we talked about, the movie he might have seen in 2000 tomorrow Together, where he says, okay, I see something there. Do you ever wonder as an actor, what did they see in my past that makes them want me for right now?
Yeah, yes, you do. Of course you do. And especially when it comes from like America, there's always, because they don't, 90% of what I'm doing here, and no one will have ever seen it,
Right.
So, or in Europe, I've done some stuff here in Europe also, but so of course you wonder a little bit, but I think I don't know. Sometimes you felt like you when you get an audition, you feel okay. I know. This character, I have this is in me. And then I think it's important to do it the way you want to do it. The times when you feel like you don't read the descriptions too much because you get a sense of it, maybe
right.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery,
Yeah.
And sometimes people come to you and say, "Oh, that movie was great," and you think, "Oh, you mean that?" No, I haven't seen that. I mean that movie. And it's like, "Oh, that movie. Okay, yeah. Oh, made such an impression." And it's like, "Really? Okay." You never know. Or someone, you say, "This movie, I've seen it. Yeah, and you feel, okay, you didn't. That's not for you. That's why you need to do a lot of different."
That's right. So is there anything that you wanted to get out for future projects that you possibly have? Did you want to throw out your social media? Anything you wanted to promote or get out there, Gustaf?
No, what do you mean?
Do you have social media that people could follow you on?
Extremely bad at. I have Instagram, but I'm like a total jerk. I post one thing a year.
Gotcha.
I'm just thinking if I should be active, but
you should be, because you have a lot of great projects. Like, people would love to see that. I would. Maybe. I would love to see it.
Yeah.
How about like future projects that you have going on? Are you filming anything in the States, or is anything coming out? Is there
no?
What are you working on?
I was on hold. The fantastic being on hold for months, pinned. If you're pinned for something, I don't know if that's better on hold. You are pinned for this, but then they released the pin. Oh, thank you very much. No, it's all. The problem for me is, when I work here in Sweden, sometimes in France and whatever, you get into a schedule, and then it comes like a project from US, and it's like it starts in 2 weeks, oh, but I'm in this production for 4 months, you know,
Right.
and it's been a couple of situations when it's really, I can't do it, you know, and that's not, because then you breach a contract, and you know it's like you're going to be blacklisted in Sweden, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a constant dribble. No, I'm not. I have a few things unsure. Not in US now. I was pinned for this, but they released the pin, so I'm now fallen down on the floor.
Oh, that sucks. That's crazy.
Yeah. But I'm so. I did a lot of self tapes after Brüno. It came a lot of for big movies, and you get this presentation, and it's and there's this extremely famous actors that are in the movie, and a lot of times they wanted me for the Russian villain,
Yeah.
That's a popular part for me.
Well,
and then you see, oh, that huge star is in, and that huge star is in, so but now I don't until you actually are in front of the camera, it's going to happen probably, otherwise it's just maybe or maybe not,
Your work is amazing, and I really look forward to that next thing, whatever that might be, because people can catch you in Dr. Death now. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for Brüno. Like, you brought me so much joy in that role, and thank you.
That's
And
fantastic.
you are so talented, Gustaf, and it was worth every minute of. And thank you for sticking with me. And you're just a wonderful man. And please come back anytime you'd like.
I will.
Gustaf,
where are you? You are in LA. No.
I'm in Massachusetts. I'm in right outside of Boston. So it's very cold out, which I like.
Swedish climate. Yeah.
Swedish climate, and I was thinking about you when you said it gets dark at 4, because when I do my run at like 4 o'clock in the woods, like I have a headlight, and it gets very dark very early, and I don't mind that. I'd rather have cold than very humid. And a lot of people think I'm crazy, but I'd rather be in 20-degree weather than 80s and humid. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
So, but
you're at the right place. Yeah,
I am in the right place, and I'm happy. So, I'm happier now that we've talked. So, thank you, Gustaf. I appreciate it. Have a great.